It's a brand new day, and welcome to another video. More importantly, a What We Reading Wednesday video. And in this video, we're talking about books, but we're also just specifically talking about the count 'em, four books that I adore and will recommend to anyone who is a lover of romance books that involve music and musicians, but people who just love music. For every one book I finish, I add 5 more to my TBR. There's just so many good books to read. I saw this show on Netflix called Soundtrack. The premise of the show was that all music, no matter what kind of music it is about love. Loss of it, the gain of it, the surprise of it, the acceptance, all that like stuff about love, the feeling of it. It's just all about love. And so when I'm thinking of music and romance, those go hand in hand no matter what you're trying to like get at. Like no matter what the emotion is that's coming out of the song, it really is based in the origin of love. So love being a basic emotion and inputting it into a story with music that is all the kind of love come to life in a beautiful sound, in a beautiful symphony. Like the way music can just help express love is ridiculous. I decided to do a video on romance books and music because romance and love and music, as I just said, comes together. And I just finished reading a book called Deep Cuts. It's on my list. 1 second, get back to it. But then I realized that I'm up to 4 different kind of books that involve romance and music. And I was like, let me do a little video. I want to stay in this feeling of love and music. And so what's the best way to do that than to talk about it over and 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 over again? Because I also did a video maybe a couple weeks ago. It's on Friday video, a Van Life Friday video, where I talk about how I perceive love from child age to teenage age to my age of 30 and the feelings that come with it. If you're interested in watching that video, go ahead and watch the video. But that emotion is kind of what I'm sitting in right now. I feel like it's tipping into a good point, and so I want to stay in this good feeling of that tipping point into the goodness of love and not pretty much like the trauma in love. And again, what a good way to do that by then talking about all the lovely stories that I was able to read by amazing authors who put together an amazing story with 2 characters going through it. Aren't they always going through it? Like, aren't they always going through it? A little bit of music, a little bit of trauma, and like a happy ending. Like, okay, don't quote me on that. I don't remember if all these were happy endings. They were. There's 4 books, and I'm gonna go in order of the current, like the most recent book that I read to the first ever book that I read involving romance and music. There's only 4, so doing it that way isn't gonna be hard, but I also want to talk about like how they made me feel. Okay, so just stick with me here. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the ride, and let's get into it. The first book was the most recent book that I read, and it was a book called Deep Cuts. I did a whole video of a read with me. If you want to see it, it's right over here. But that was the most recent book that I've read involving love and music. The premise of the story is our character, Percy, who is a late bloomer. She doesn't really go through her formative years or formative events until college. She grew up with a kind of like plain life. Nothing really huge happened, nothing really small happened, but things didn't start to impact her and make her perspective on life and herself change until she was in college. The MMC, Joe, he's there, whatever, and he's there. No, I'm kidding. He is a musician that Percy meets while in college, and from one night of like meeting and drinking and talking about music and how they make each other feel, kind of analyzing different parts of a song that they both like and getting their perspective on both songs, Percy and Joey enter this partnership where she is helping him write these songs to better express the emotion he wants to from those songs. Percy's really good at analyzing other music, so she helps Joe with that. However, the love of music that they have and their love story is, I would want to say that it coincides, but we get a lot more of Percy's side of things, like her point of view. We literally don't get Joe's point of view unless he just happens to be with Percy or she looked him up about something. But essentially, we're seeing this whole story through Percy's eyes and through the music that she listened to during these formative times in her late blooming life. And Joe is there. I know I talked about romance and and it being like cute and stuff like that, and I'm like really not caring about the guy. The reason is because this book in general is about Percy and her journey and how he kind of impacts it, and the choices she makes kind of goes toward her love for Joe, whether it's at the beginning where they were just in college and he had a girlfriend and they were all just friends, or later in life when he had become like a little famous and she decided what she really wants in life and how she wants to express herself, her life as a writer and her life aside from being Joe's person who just helps him write songs. So when I bring it up as like romance versus music, it's because this is the part of the journey where the girl is still trying to figure out, late blooming girl, the girl who bloomed a little bit later than most of the buds in her generation, is figuring out at a later age what she likes, who she is, what she doesn't like, and who she wants to be. That's cool. And a lot of the music that she brings up, like two songs in particular that I truly, truly, three songs in particular that I truly, truly love, is she brings up Bag Lady by Erykah Badu, talking about the baggage that we hold and how all the baggage that we hold and how we try to get rid of it, how we try to learn from it, how we try to reflect on it, whatever, all that work that we do with our baggage, whether we deal with it or we don't deal with it, it is all in an effort to be more lovable. And that was one of the songs and themes in the book. Another song that was in the book was The Heart of the Matter, which was a Bob, no, The Heart of the Matter by some man, but I first heard that song from India RE. And it's a beautiful song of like forgiveness and grief and how we get through it and what's really going on, like literally the heart of the matter, like what do we have to get to the detail view of before we can like move on from this situation. And that song itself, The Heart of the Matter, beautiful song. And again, like I said, depicts the time where you're like, okay, I'm so tired of all this. Let's get to the heart of the matter, the detail, the emotion that we're trying to run from so we can move on from this. And in the song, she kind of gathers that it's about forgiveness and love and all that stuff like that. I know, very cliche, but aren't all the easiest lessons always right in front of our face, but we have to or choose to go through a journey just to get back to them? Beautiful song. And the last song that was in there that really went on the journey of like love and self-growth, it was As a Woman. Oh, Just Like a Woman by Nina Simone. It was originally written by Bob Dylan and sung by Bob Dylan, but since then has been taken over by other women. But I think Nina Simone was the first to do it. I'm not sure. Do not quote me on that. I'm just hoping. But Nina Simone sung it. And in the book, it reflects on how Bob Dylan's version is a version of kind of degrading a woman, whereas Nina Simone took it back and made it a reflection and a more detailed look at what a woman is and how she comes into her own. Beautiful fucking shit by beautiful fucking women. And the fact that I was able to kind of read a story of that and kind of put a vision to paper of what that looks like, or what it looks like to feel that, was really good. So if you're in that stage of life when you're going on, not, I don't want to say a self-love journey, when you're going on an identifying journey of love within yourself, if you're going on that and you are also a lover of music and you love it when you can kind of have a soundtrack to your own life through music, this is uh, a great book to read for you. So write that down. I ended up giving this, I believe, a 4-star. The writing itself, it was as if Percy was giving an interview of her life, and I enjoyed the ins and outs of real facts about music and this fictional world. And I think the author did a really, really good job. So, super good. If you're into that, check it out. We're moving on. The next book on our list, the book before Deep Cuts, was A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. If you know this book, you know this book. It's by Tia Williams, my first Tia Williams book. Hope to read more, but this was fantabulous. I think I rated it a 4-star as well. Wait, it was fantabulous. I have no idea what I rated. What I rated did. Red. Let's go to the red list. The red list is always shorter than the want to read list, and that is okay. All right, so I know my rating. We'll tell you my rating in a little bit. Now, this book is kind of historically fictionally based on a love story throughout centuries about a musical artist and a girl, the youngest girl in her family, who does not want to follow in the family footsteps and be in the funeral business. Trust me. I know too, like funeral business, there's a lot of money in it. In this story, there is. The main character, Ricky Wilde, she is the youngest in her family of a funeral home dynasty in Atlanta. They make good money on helping people grieve a loss of a family and helping them with that process. Are they really helping people? Hello? Or just making money on off people's, dead relatives? Yes. And Ricky is different. She doesn't want that life. She wants to be her own person or go her own way. She loves flowers. She loves a great display of flowers. And she, while working in one of her family's shops, um, gets introduced to this one lady. I'm forgetting her name now. Hold on now. Hold on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Miss Della. When she and Miss Della meet, Miss Della loves her energy. She loves kind of everything about Wild, and she has lost her husband, so she wouldn't mind having, someone come in and be a little bit of company in the downstairs apartment from her little condo thing, or her brownstone in New York. So she invites Ricky to come and live at that part. Ricky goes there, opens a flower shop. In the back of the flower shop, she lives there, so on and so forth. This also takes place on the most magical day of the year. Every other 4 years, a leap year, where it said a leap year is the most magical day because it only comes around very like every 4 years. This is all happening during a leap year, and in February, once it hits, Ricky runs into this man. The guy's name is Ezra. So Ezra is a musician. He is an investor. He has had a life, and he meets Ricky. Ricky meets him. And the story of their love life and how it came to be over a century, right? Over a century plays out in front of us. And it's really, really, really beautiful story about fate, the actions that we take when we are younger, the trauma that we face when we are younger. It talks about how we choose love and choose to love and why we choose the people we choose to love. And it comes back to the fate of you're always meant to be with that one person who just gets it. There's a little bit of magic in every single thing that we do. So when I say things like that, it's not super, super, super delusional. It's just a little bit delusional because one person who's meant to be, maybe some people have that. It's real because some people have it. It's real because it's tangible and it's rare. So Ricky and Ezra were meant to be together. The story that spans over a century is written so beautifully by Tia Williams that you're just like, wow, all the dots connected. And again, goes back to the choices we make in love when we are younger, when we're in a state of feeling still traumatic from the past, or just not knowing how to grasp with things that happen to us. And so we decide to choose a certain love that either depicts what we went through or doesn't depict what we went through. And those choices is how things get impacted over a century. And that's where Ezra and Ricky, get meet each other. The music part of this, because I have not touched on that, it's not just that Ezra is a musician. He wrote a song and Ricky just somehow knew that song. And I believe there was notations of the specific song and different parts of it that just weren't delved into. Like there was a chorus here, a verse here, a little melody here, but the melody was different on this page and that page throughout many, 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 many times of Ezra trying to write the song until he meets her and he's able to write this beautiful song. And she again somehow knows it and can hum it and it feels familiar. It's magical. It was definitely a magical realism story, but it was a beautiful story and it made me think of life that way. Like the choices we make today can impact us for a long time. And I don't say that to be like, to give like anxiety. I say that to think like, isn't that great also? Like, isn't that really great that what you put in now can sow the seeds for an amazing thing later? But it also like makes me think about how you meet the person you're supposed to meet when you're on the road to just doing your own thing. If Ricky did not take the opportunity to go to New York and open up a flower shop, she would never have met Ezra. But she also dealt with a lot of pushback from her family to do things that she wanted to do. And she got this amazing opportunity for her career and love out of it. Like, isn't that crazy? If you're into timey-wimey love romances set in the environment of the Harlem Renaissance and around Harlem, before, after, during the Harlem Renaissance, pick up this book. If you're into jazz and blues and even the history of jazz and blues and how it came to be during the Harlem Renaissance, because Miss Tia Williams worked that information in, and it was so lovely to read and kind of like just a small snippet of the history of the greatest blues and jazz players that we have. Mostly blues, right? Girl, I don't know. If you want all that in a book and you just want to fall in love with two characters really just trying their best, put this down, write this down, write this down. I rated this book a 4 star. 4 stars. 4. The third to last book that I read was The Mixtape by Brittany Cherry. I read this book last year. Don't lie. Hold on. Or earlier this year. It feels like a lifetime ago since I read that book. I read this January of this year. It feels like a lifetime ago. First of all, let me just put this up like a little hoe. Also, I forgot I had a Celsius here. We have two characters in the mixtape, Oliver and Emery. Emery is a single mom, and Oliver is one part of a music duo until he lost his brother. They meet each other at a bar that Emery is working, where Oliver is not handling the death of his brother well. And Emery has to help him out because during that time, a brawl happens. Emery gets Oliver out of the bar while this huge debacle is happening. And she takes him home, takes care of him for the day. And then, ipso facto, their love story takes off. Isn't that great? What I love about this one specifically is that they didn't play about each other the first time around. Like, after Emery helped Oliver out, he took it upon himself to help her out. And from that point on, we get a relationship of two people seeing the best in each other and helping them out that way, and kind of taking away any blockages that would stop them from being together. Is there a third act breakup? Isn't there always? We move past it. While they're helping each other kind of heal and get on their feet, one of their forms of communication is through music. Oliver and his brother used to send songs back and forth in the morning, through the day, and at night about how they're currently feeling. So not necessarily a text, just a song. When Emery and Oliver were like getting closer, that turned into their form of communication. And the fact that I knew most of the songs was so great because I can understand what they're feeling because I've heard the music and I felt that song. Whereas some songs I had to go and listen to kind of capture that emotion. I could obviously read it from the details of the book, but sometimes, again, music just has a way of connecting that little piece of magic to you and to the event happening or the emotion happening. It's really nice. It's really cool. That was so cute to like read because music is a form of communication that I think is just beautiful. If you've ever been feeling something, can't quite get the words for what you're feeling, some artist out there who can relate to that emotion did it for you through a beautiful, beautiful song. And how great is that to be able to give to someone else who you love, for them to listen to as a way to say, this is how I'm feeling, I can't express it. Or I can express it, but I also want you to feel it, type of thing. Like, music is beautiful. In this book, there are talks about religion and how it impacts women. It talks about abuse, whether familial or other relationships. Covers themes of depression and anxiety. The way Brittany Cherry was able to fit all that in there and it still feel like a quick read, amazing. I can't wait to read more of her stuff. This love story, as it goes to like music, it's just in there a way to communicate and connect and feel seen and feel heard, and that is pretty fucking cool and an amazing smoky love story. I rated that a 5-star. And last but not least, because this is the quintessential book that I think made me fall in love with the genre before there was a big part of my life I stopped reading, Just Listen by Sarah Dessen. It is about, I'll just read the synopsis because I read this when I was in high school. Last year, Annabelle was the girl who has everything. At least that's the part she played in television commercials for Cops department store. This year, she's the girl who has nothing. No best friend because mean but exciting Sophie dropped her. No peace at home since her older sister became anorexic. And no one to sit with at lunch until she meets Owen Armstrong. Tall, dark, and music obsessed, Owen is a reformed bad boy with a commitment to truth-telling. With Owen's help, maybe Annabelle can face what happened that night she and Sophie stopped being friends. Now, what I liked about this, it was the first story of reading two people. Well, okay, hold on, actually. It was the first time reading a boy making a playlist for a girl. And I fell in love. But this was the start of it. I was like, a man can make you a playlist and tell you how he feels from music. And I think that started like me wanting to know people's favorite songs so I can feel them closer. Toxic, but also beautiful. In here, he gives her a few playlists to listen to, and while she's listening to them, it again is reflecting what she's feeling as this event plays out in the story in her life. I loved it as a younger girl. I can see music being a form of communication but also understanding. And did that feed a lot into my delusional romantic stuff? Yes, but it was really good. If you're into YA and you just want to read a great, like, wholesome but kind of heavy book about how one guy's music obsession saved the life of a girl who just needed to learn how to express herself and tell a very heavy truth about an event in her life, read it. Romance and music goes hand in hand. And if you agree, let me know in the comments down below. But that is it. Those are the 4 books that I can think of, and I can't wait to read more. These are the ones that I see myself in the most and were impactful to my life, and I wanted to share. So if you have any romance and music recommendations, please drop them below. If any of the books that I mentioned were something that you read before, also, girl, let me know. I love you. I am grateful for you. Listen to some music. Fall in love, shake ass, and I will see you in the next story. Bye. Oh my god, wait, I didn't even show you my boombox and music ghost. Of course I love music. It's on my body.